Welcome to my review of set 75409 Jango Fett Starship. And yes, we'll get into that name later. This set has 2,970 pieces and retails for $300 US. Looking at the box, I really wish they did something different than just the black. I think it would have looked really cool to put Kamino in the background and maybe have it live up to its predecessor, Boba Fett Slave 1. However, I digress. Like most LEGO Star Wars sets, the back of the box does show off some pretty cool features, and it shows some pictures from the movie. The side of the box does show the Slave 1 looking at you dead on, which is kind of menacing. Cracking open the box, you'll find 23 numbered bags, a decently sized sticker sheet, and 2 instruction manuals. Now getting into the minifigures, let's start off with the elephant in the room, young Boba Fett. Just to start, here's a picture of Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones, and here's a picture of Boba Fett in LEGO form. See any differences? Even my own dad, who knows nothing about LEGO Star Wars, came up to me and said that young Boba Fett looks bad. I mean, his hairpiece is just completely wrong. It looks nothing like his hair at all. And his belt is way too oversized. It looks nothing like what he has in universe. Even the color on his arms are the wrong shade of blue. I mean, at this point, LEGO should have just put in the figure from 2017 or just not even included him at all. But now let's move on to Jango Fett. For the most part, I actually like what they did with this figure. I think the arm printing on this figure looks really nice. He also comes with a new rangefinder mold, which does look pretty good. And this is what it looks like next to the old version. You can see it's just much better. Underneath his helmet though, he does have some pretty nice printing and 2 different facial expressions. However, I think it would have been really cool if they printed on his little headset that he wears when he flies the ship. Anyway, his leg printing also looks pretty good. One other small nitpick I have is that I think his jetpack should have been a lighter gray. But nonetheless, I do think this is a pretty nice figure. Now let's get into the actual build. Starting off with the stand, it does have a pretty nice display card, and if you want, you can pause and read some of the information. And with the Slave 1 actually on there, it does look pretty awesome. Going to the bottom of the Slave 1, the thrust does look pretty cool. They use white plates underneath translucent tiles to create a really cool effect. I don't know if any of you guys have noticed this, but I feel like the underside sort of looks like Hugh Yang's face. Let me know if you guys can see it in the comments. Besides that, the level of greebling they used is just insane. It looks super good. Going to the top side, I do like that there are very few gaps on this set. I also like the shaping around the edges. It looks really nice and is pretty accurate to what we see in universe. But in order to achieve that, they did use some pretty crazy building techniques. And that has caused some pieces to fall off on me before, so I would be careful in picking this up. But I would say it's a pretty sturdy model for the most part. On the front of the ship, there are some pretty nice blaster cannons, which can rotate in any direction you want. On top of that, the tiles on this section and the overall design looks very nice. Looking at the wings, they can actually move with gravity as the ship rotates, which is a nice accurate feature. And now let's take a look at the cockpit. They actually created a new windshield piece for this set, and I think it looks very nice. But sadly, they ruined it with some off-colored stickers. Nonetheless, the way you access the cockpit is by simply taking off the windshield. And you can see that on the inside, there's 5 spots for minifigures. And here's what it looks like all filled up. There's also this little section here that you can pull out. And now you can see all the little gadgets and control panels that Jango uses to fly the ship. Sadly though, they do use a ton of stickers in here, and it gets pretty tedious to put them all on. And behind that section, there's a secret compartment with a little bacta tank, and it can hold Jango's blasters and his jetpack. So now you can put Jango and Boba in the cockpit, and they actually look pretty nice in there. And I think this is a pretty nice way to display it too. Overall, I think they should have called it Jango Fett Slave 1 instead of Jango Fett Starship. Or even Jango Fett's fire spray would have been really cool. I also don't like the use of all these stickers, and I think the Boba Fett minifigure is very bad. But the build is just so nice, and the Jango figure is also very nice. I also think it's a pretty good value at $300. So I'll give this set a solid 9 out of 10. Of course, let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe for more videos like this.